All right, hello and welcome. This channel is Forever Untouchable, and if you don't know, which you may not because I've changed the direction just a little bit, but on this channel we focus on the self-mastery of the divine feminine. We want the divine feminine to master her mind, body, and soul and her emotions so that she can have a fulfilling relationship with herself and ultimately have fulfilling relationships with other people, especially those of us who are mothers and having fulfilling relationships with our children. So the topics on this channel are going to be based on motherhood, fertility, the divine feminine, emotions. Those are really going to be the top. We are going to discuss things that go into each category: mind, body, soul. So we are going to talk about mental health, we are going to talk about physical health, and we are going to talk about the spiritual health of the soul. So in this specific reading, what we're going to be talking about is narcissism and whether or not you feel like you have a narcissistic baby daddy, father of your child. I don't like the word baby daddy, but I think that that is kind of what society has conformed to saying. So I'm going to go with it for this video and this video only. But yeah, we're going to talk about narcissism of the father of your child, your baby daddy. And what we're going to talk about is, in terms of this video, I'm going to do a general read. This is going to be about 20 to 30 minute general read. What I want you guys to do is, because I was really torn with myself if I should do one for each zodiac sign and get deep into the storylines of the zodiac signs and what you could possibly be dealing with on a more specific level. But right now, what I'm going to focus on is the general ideation of narcissism, the general ideation of what it's means for your partner or the father of your child to be a narcissist and for you to be an empath. And this is going to be a timeless read, so no matter when you see it, it should resonate. Like it's not going to be specific to a retrograde or an eclipse season or etc, etc. However, I am filming it in the eclipse season and during a Mercury retrograde. So I would like to know, drop in the comments, message me, whatever. Let me know if you guys would like a specific reading to say, you know, this is what is going on in my narcissistic relationship with the father of my child by zodiac sign, and I will 100% deliver that. But as of right now, the messages that wanted to come through were very generalized, and I think there's just like a lot of misconceptions about narcissism, and I think that there's an education, or I apologize, there's a lot of buzzwords out there: gaslighting, narcissism, love bombing, empathy, empath, and I think that those words, although they have a very deeper meaning, I think that they're overused and they're not properly applied to certain situations. So I really want to dig deep into those words, what those things mean, and help you understand how to overcome a relationship that you have with a perceived narcissist. So yeah, let's jump into it. So first and foremost, I want you guys to understand that narcissism is a personality disorder. It is something that does need to be diagnosed by a professional psychiatrist, therapist, or psychologist. If your partner has not been diagnosed with narcissism, it could be possible that they may not necessarily be a narcissist. There are plenty of other mental disorders or mental health issues that mimic or appear to be narcissism. That just aren't. You know, you could have a partner who is actually autistic, who's actually bipolar, who is actually a sociopath or a psychopath. There are so many different realms in terms of mental health that it's hard for someone who's not a professional, who is not well versed in psychology, to go ahead and diagnose such a thing. However, because we live in the day and age where we live in the information age, it's the age of the Aquarius, it's very easy to access information regarding narcissism. So people tend to look for narcissism quotes or information, and they feel that what they're reading applies to their partner. I am here to tell you that there is the law of assumption. First off, let's start with the fact that anybody who goes and looks for information to credit their theory or to prove their theory is most likely going to find evidence to prove their theory. It's like the old tale of I believe one thing, you believe another thing. I'm going to go find 4 books that prove what I'm saying, and you're going to go find 4 books that prove what you're saying. Both parties are going to be able to find books that prove what they're saying, but we have to think about who wrote those books. Where did those books come from? Where is that information even? Where is the origin of that information? You're always going to be able to prove your point. It's just a fact in the world, because there's so much information out there in this universe, and because people have gone down so many avenues of trying to prove their beliefs, trying to prove their theories. There's going to be books, information, Google pages, like regarding whatever it is that you're Googling to be true. So with that being said, if you're Googling narcissism, if you're going and reading books about narcissism because you're going down a path to prove that your partner is a narcissist, you're most likely going to find information that confirms this. And that's not necessarily how you diagnose narcissism. Narcissism has to be diagnosed, once again, by a therapist, psychologist, or psychiatrist. So with that being said, jumping into the segue of the next thing, I believe in the law of assumption. You cannot see in others what you don't see in yourself. We live in a generally egotistical, narcissistic society. This society in 2023 is generally more narcissistic than a society in 1890 or a society in 1990. 1990, I'll actually say, is probably right around when narcissism started really becoming a thing. I'll say the 70s is really when narcissism started becoming a thing, when people really started kind of me. Ayn Rand is a philosopher, and Ayn Rand talks very deeply about the self and doing things for the self, thinking about the self. One of Ayn Rand's famous, I want to call it like philosophical questions that you ask people is this, right? If you were walking down a street and you seen a baby drowning, would you save the baby? And most people's answer is yes, like I'd save the baby. But now when I ask you, if you're walking down the street and you seen a baby drowning, but you knew if you saved the baby, you would die, would you save the baby? Then, more importantly, if you walk down the street and you seen a baby drowning and you knew that that baby was going to die of a terminal disease within 3 days of saving it from drowning, would you still save it? If you knew you were going to die as well. If you die saving the baby and you know that baby's going to die of a terminal disease 3 days later, would you save the baby? Now, she used that philosophical question to prove her theory that people are much more self-centered than they appear to be, right? We want to believe that we're altruistic and that we would all save the baby. But when that question actually got asked to different groups of people and people really had time to think about it, she found that most of the people, by the time they got to that last question, were like, I wouldn't save the baby. If I knew I was going to die saving a baby that was going to die 3 days later, I wouldn't save the baby. Now, she went through extensive research and extensive trials, and she did extensive experiments proving this theory that people are basically self-centered. So we live in a society that is very self-centered, right? And it's very easy to accuse someone of being egotistical. It's very easy to accuse someone of being narcissistic. And because we live in this day and age where narcissism is like a buzzword that's all over online, and there's people who literally sell, and I'm not going to say sell, but yes, they sell this idea that your partner's a narcissist and you're an empath and this is how I can help you. Like which is perfect marketing. This is your problem. This is what you need to do to solve your problem, and I can help. And that in itself is consumerism. That's capitalism. That's somebody trying to capitalize off of your pain and suffering, which is why I personally despise people who have content that is solely based on narcissism, who have not themselves actually been with somebody who was diagnosed with narcissism, or they themselves have not gone to therapy themselves and dug deep into their own issues. So we go on to the next phase of what we're talking about, and then I'm going to start pulling cards, which is that In the law of assumption, we cannot see in others what we don't see in ourselves. And because we live in a society that is technically egotistical and overall narcissistic, it's very easy to accuse another person of narcissism. But the truth is if you see narcissism in another person, generally it's because you have narcissistic qualities yourself, which is not a bad thing. It is not bad to be somewhat narcissistic. It is not a horrible thing to be somewhat egotistical. You have to fill your own cup before you fill other people's. Now, someone who is actually diagnosed with narcissism, it's not just about filling their cup before they fill other people's. They just want their cup full. That's it. They don't fill anybody else's cup at all unless it's convenient for them. I don't want to dig too deep into like that part, but the point is that when you end up telling a narcissist and you end up starting to set boundaries and saying, or a perceived narcissist, you end up setting boundaries and saying, you know what, I have to think about myself. I have to think about myself. I have to think about myself. That's technically narcissistic. It may not be diagnosed with the mental disorder of narcissism, but that's technically narcissistic. So I wanted to start off this reading by jumping into that and talking about that, because essentially narcissism and empathy, the perfect way to explain this, is the yin and yang, right? The divine masculine and the divine feminine. There's always a dot of one in the other. And this is what we call polarity, right? Up and down, north and south. They are polar opposites, but essentially they are polar opposites in the same concept. And each one of each other has a piece of each other in itself. Okay, so the point is that if you are dealing with a narcissistic father of your child, baby father, whatever, father, mother, whatever, most likely you have to address some things within yourself regarding your own narcissism or your own egotism. And I say that to say that narcissism, if it is diagnosed and is an actual mental disorder, actually attracts partners who also have mental disorders. So I talk about this very deeply in my book, Lovesick, where I talk about my personal tribulations and my personal experience with a man who I perceived to be a narcissist, and how me going down a journey of trying to prove he was a narcissist ended up bringing me closer to my own mental health issues and helping me understand what I needed to heal within myself and why him and I were mirroring each other. Sometimes your partner's actually not a narcissist. Sometimes you guys just are together and you guys are mirroring each other and mirroring out the wounds that need to be healed from childhood, from past lives, if you believe in past lives, which I do, etc., etc. So you need to focus on your partners and think of your partners and think of all your relationships as mirrors. What is this person showing me about myself? What do I see in this person, and what does that show me about myself? So I say that to say, that was already 12 minutes, so I'm really glad I got that all out. So yes, if you guys want to read more in depth about this and also kind of go through a journaling process where you can journal through exactly what I'm talking about, then I suggest you buy Lovesick, because Lovesick is it's a diary for me and a diary for you. So literally I'm talking about my experiences. There's excerpts from not my diary, but there's also my reflections on what those excerpts mean, on what those situations meant to my life. And there's a section for you to reflect and a section for you to put excerpts from your diary. And at the end of the book, there's activities for you to go ahead and dig deeper into your love life, your relationships, and help to start to define what it is in yourself that needs to be healed. I'm sorry, I apologize. It's for you to redefine love and for you to identify what it is in your life, in your heart, in your soul, in your mind, in your body that needs to be healed in order for you to have productive, healthy relationships. So let's jump into the cards. What we're going to do here is I'm going to do your energy and their energy. And then we're going to pull some tarot. It's not going to be like so crazy in the tarot because like I said, I'm not necessarily doing storylines, but I just want to see. And then what we're going to do, I want to see like what kind of energies come up in regard to your energy and their energy. Oh, those all fell. I'm going to take them all. If you guys know me, I do not mind having a million cards out. Some readers are like, oh no, I only want 3. No. If 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fall, we get 5. And I think that those 5 are more or less actually going to be just like help me along with what we're going to say about each of the energies. So I won't flip those over just yet. And then what we're going to do is meditation cards, because at the end of this, I'm going to give some advice, some generalized advice on what you can do to start your healing process. Obviously, I'm going to plug my book. I'm going to tell you to get my book. I'm going to tell you that's helpful because it is, but there are other ways for you to go ahead and dig deep into your healing process without necessarily buying my book. And I'm all for that. If you want to go a different route, then you go a different route. Would I love you to buy my book? Absolutely. But, you know. So your energy is great power, strength of character, authority, dignity, influence, self-confidence, leadership, peak condition, and potency. First and foremost, this card, honestly, you guys saw me shuffle. You guys saw that the cards are in my hand. I was not doing no funny business. I like to say that sometimes because some people get in the comments who are non-believers and start to like attack readers. But the point is that this card literally comes out whenever I'm dealing with somebody who literally messages me and is like, I need a reading because I think that, I think my partner's a narcissist. I think I'm an empath and I think they're a narcissist. This card always comes out for the quote unquote empath's energy. And the reason for it is because it's strength of character. Personality and character are 2 different things. Your personality and how you act and the words you use and talking with your hands, these are your personality. Your character is your morals, your belief system, right? So your ethics, the ethics of who you are. And a lot of the times when we're dealing with a narcissistic person or a person we perceive to be narcissistic, a person who is hurting us, an unhealthy relationship, it tests our character. Because we realize, number one, we always say, I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do that to you. That's against my moral belief system. I would never do that to you. Why would you treat me like this? But in reality, when you look at the depth of an unhealthy relationship, a lot of the times, one person is hurting one person and one person is always trying to retaliate and hurt the other person back. I want you to feel what you've made me feel. And maybe it doesn't happen instantly in a relationship, but we're talking about baby daddies right now. And we all know that what happens is once they've disrespected you that much, once it gets to that level of disrespect and just a blatant disregard for your emotions and your existence and your love for them, you literally get to a point where you're just kind of like, I don't give a fuck how you feel. You reciprocate that same energy. You're mirroring them and you reciprocate that same energy, and it tests your character because now you're doing things that are out of character. So with the strength of character card that comes through, I always remind people who are dealing with unhealthy relationships, especially the fathers of your children, you have to stay strong in your moral system. It's like Michelle Obama says, when they go low, you have to go high. Do not play a game of tit for tat. And sometimes, and this is exactly what I'm talking about, that game is fucking fun. It is so fun at a point in your life. I had a lot of fun playing that game because realistically, it gave me purpose. It literally made my whole brain, my body tingle because first off, I love solving problems. Secondly, I enjoy a good debate, right? So when I'm on this journey of trying to let's fast forward to after all the pain and suffering happens, right? After he's inflicted all this pain, it gets to a point where I'm on this journey to prove he's a narcissist. Oh, I had an amazing time. I had an amazing time accusing him. I had an amazing time researching all that information. But I realized that all of the energy that I was putting into proving that this man was a narcissist was energy that was being misplaced. I ended up, which I talk about with Lovesick, enrolling in school, starting to publish books, starting to start my business. And that flipped for me because I was like, I misplaced so much energy when it was against my moralistic belief system to hurt another human being, right? I don't want to hurt another human being, especially when we're talking about females, right? In terms of you're dealing with this narcissistic person or this perceived to be narcissistic person, and they're bringing in all these other females, right? And now you're saying things about these females, fuck that bitch, that whore, that da-da-da, blah, blah, blah. And now you're kind of, guys, let me just say too, I'm really loving this reading because I never talk like this during readings. So this is why I know that this was like meant to be. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is, you start to say things about women that you don't really mean, because honestly, it's not their fault. It's not their fault that they're also mirroring this person. It's not their fault that, there's accountability that we're not going to say it's not their fault. But the point is they're going down the same path of destruction you went down. So honestly, you're mirroring them as well. You're seeing in them only what you can see in yourself. You're going to hear me talk about the law of assumption a lot now on this channel, because I'm a true believer in the law of assumption. I'm a true believer that people come into your life, karmic people come into your life in order for you to see what it is in yourself that you want to heal. So most of the time when we're talking about women like that, and we're talking about the other parties, and we're coming out of our character, we're going against our belief system, our moralistic system, our ethical system, to talk dirty, nasty, angrily about another human being, whether this person hurt you directly, like the father of your child, or whether they hurt you by proxy with the father of your child, some directly, because some women go head to head. It's because you're seeing a part of yourself in them, and that's the part of you you hate. And that's the part of you that you need to heal, okay? So it also talks about leadership, dignity, influence, self-confidence. You need to have the self-confidence to step away, the self-respect to step away. More importantly, it's leadership. Show how to act by acting, right? You can't keep telling your narcissistic baby father, you got to come do this. This is not right. You can't keep treating me this way. These things go in one ear and out the other. If this person is truly a narcissist, there's absolutely no point in verbal. There's no point. Until they get actual help, anything you say is dust in the wind. So cut it out. If this person is like not actually diagnosed with narcissism and just like, it's just not working, it's not happening, right? You need to just lead by example. If you start to change the dynamics of the relationship, and I'm not talking about the buzzwords of, oh, you got to set boundaries and you have to da-da-da. No. It's very simple. It is the most simple answer that you've probably never heard. Your nervous system is what controls your body, your mind, and is a direct reflection of your soul. If your nervous system is disrupted by any conversation, any interaction with the father of your child, then you need to cut out that, what's the word I'm looking for? I just can use an example. I'm just going to use an example. If your baby father calls you and says, I'm not coming to get the kids, or whatever, I'm not sending you money, whatever, and you feel inside your body, your nervous system is being disrupted. And because your nervous system is being disrupted, your emotions are coming out. Your mental health is suffering. Your body is suffering. Your soul feels dark and empty now. And as a result, your kids are picking up on that energy. The other people in your life are picking up on that energy. You're overall depressed, deflated, and angry about what is happening. You need to cut that conversation. Okay, bye. I can't talk to you. Because if you continue to talk, if you continue to go back and forth, what you're doing is you're disrupting your nervous system. And if your nervous system is disrupted, it's this, what I just said. If your cup is not full, that's what people are talking about. If you're overstimulated, anxious, angry, and depressed, how can you really be present for your children, for yourself, for other people, right? And we are going to talk about the nervous system when I do the meditation cards, because that's really where it's going to come, where a little bit more advice, I can dig deeper into the layers of how to help your nervous system. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to pull their energy. So we have progress, gaining recognition, appreciation, achievements, acceleration, steady gains, and increased clarity. Okay, the biggest thing with someone who is perceived to be a narcissist or someone who is like hurting you is they always seem like they're so profound. Like they, especially when your nervous system is, I'm actually glad I pulled right here, because now they call you and tell you something. And I know you guys have probably heard this before. Now you're reacting to their action. They did something wrong. They're saying something wrong, and you know it to be wrong in your moralistic system. Your character knows that is wrong. But now you're getting out of character to express to them that it's wrong. And they're just, oh, I hate narcissistic energy. You see how they whipped it out of my hand? Look at them. And they're just relishing. They're just like, yep, I got you right where I want you. I got you right where I want you. Because you respond to me. We're meant to, and this is literally the cycle of what we talk about and what we hear about with the love bombing and then the bad, part of the cycle, and then it all starts again and over and over. When you react that way to them, they relish in it. They're like, oh, you love me, you want me, because look how you're reacting to me. If you didn't care about me, you wouldn't be reacting this way. And it's literally like gaining recognition. They feel seen. They feel heard. Even if you're dealing with someone you perceive to be a narcissist, I know that you've experienced this. I know that person has quite literally, as you're yelling and screaming, just stayed calm, which irritates you even more. This is when they talk about gray rocking, and this is why they talk about like not giving that energy to them. I believe in gray rocking, but I don't believe in gray rocking. I think that the definition of gray rocking is essentially like, I think that there's some truth to it, but I also think that it's not as easy as they make it seem. To just withdraw your energy and say, I'm not going to engage, is hard when you don't have a reason not to engage. My thing is the nervous system. You have to put into your brain that your nervous system is fucking important. You have to consciously do affirmations and think about your nervous system all of the time. Because if you have something to lose in yourself when you go back and forth, and you recognize it while you're going back and forth or before you go back and forth, that can avoid you from escalating too far. When we go back and forth and our nervous system gets dysregulated, we realize it afterwards, and then we feel shame, we feel guilt, and this is a part of the cycle as well, because when we feel that shame or guilt, we end up trying to go back to the person who's hurt us, and we're going back and forth with and trying to prove this point, and we try to reconcile. We give them more recognition. We try to validate not only what we felt, but we also try to make sense of whatever crazy thing they did, and we kind of say, well, maybe I shouldn't have reacted that way. No, you shouldn't have reacted that way, but I'm here to tell you, they're still fucking wrong. You don't need to apologize, okay? You just need to focus that next time, you're not going to let them fucking disrupt your nervous system. It's as simple as that. But we often feel that guilt and that shame, and that guilt and that shame comes to the surface, and then we feel the need to compensate for it. We feel the need to apologize. We feel the need to reconcile. You don't need to reconcile. You need to reconcile with yourself. You need to get yourself to a state of calmness and a state of peace. And you need to keep your body there. One of the most important things I'm going to say about regulating your nervous system is feeling peace within the body. You need to learn how to feel peaceful within your body. Okay, we're not going to get into it, but I do feel the need to say guided meditations, learning how to relax. Drop those shoulders. Let out that breath. Stop scrunching up your face. Literally be mindful of how you're holding your face. Be mindful of the muscles that are tensing up. Your nervous system, like I said, is going to cause your body to react. It's going to cause your mind to react, and it's going to cause your soul to deflate. You're going to feel that in the moment. But sometimes what happens is we're so blind with rage, we're so blind with anger that we ignore it. Don't ignore it. Listen to your body. Listen to your body. Your body is going to tell you immediately when your nervous system is not regulated, when your nervous system is being disrupted. And with these people, you have to understand the steady gains is so important. I just seen the steady gains. They gain when you yell. But either way, also too, you have to understand their nervous system is being disrupted too. I feel like that's important to know. We need to understand as women that men, even if they seem calm, even if their exterior is cool as like a cucumber, the inside of them is raging, which is why they act the way they do, which is why, if you notice, after certain, they can only withstand so much of that until they explode as well. And if you're dealing with someone who's abusive, if you're dealing with somebody who's like verbally gets physical or verbally abuses, like gets extremely angry, extremely like dangerous, you know that it's literally just a matter of time before they just pop like a bomb. So with that being said, you know what's crazy? 34 and 35 are in succession to each other. I want to come back. I want to scale back a second here. 34 is great power, which is number 7. I think that it's divinely guided that is number 7, because number 7 is all about spirituality. It's all about the soul. It's all about speaking the good word of God or whatever, the universe, the higher powers. 7 life path people and 7 energy is all about discovering the truths of the universe. And I think that when we're talking about something like the law of assumption, I think that this resonates deeper with the divine feminine energy, because the divine feminine energy is quite literally the darkness in which the universe was created, right? This is the energy that is more likely to go towards God, to go towards a spiritual path in order to heal herself. And I say that to say that when we look at the number 7 and we look at the spiritual path to go down, the spiritual path is always going to be more successful than just dealing with the mental path. So if you just try to use psychology to address the issues in your life, you're probably going to fall short. So I think that with the 7 energy and your energy, it's coming through as very much like, look at the deeper meaning, do the shadow work, look at what I'm saying about the mirrors and the reflection, journal through your issues, like listen to your body, listen to your mind, meditate in silence. These things are things that 7 energy does in order to find the answers, the hidden answers to the universe. So if there's a question that you had coming into this reading, it most likely will be answered for yourself through meditation, silence, introspection, journaling, which are all things that help us also regulate our nervous system, because we cannot keep, I think that's why I just kind of thought of all this, is because when I'm talking about that person exploding, I think maybe you might explode as well. You get so built up because you feel like there's only so much you can withstand from this person until you just explode. So with that being said, I think that it's important for you to work through the emotions and purge them out of your body. You have to feel the emotion. You have to work through your emotions. And what working through your emotions means, recognizing the emotion, understanding it's there, figuring out why it's there, and then being able to address that core issue and then purging it from your body. That's what people mean when they say go through it, not over it or under it. Don't suppress the emotions, and don't just outwardly express your emotions all the time. Feel them. Feel them. And once you feel them, you can locate in your body, in your soul, in your mind, what the core issue of that feeling is, and then you can address it and you can move forward. And then with this 35 here, that reduces down to the number 8, and 8 energy is all about finances, fame. That it literally is what the card is: recognition, shine, being the center of attention. It's like sun energy, it's solar energy, versus the 7 energy that's like moon energy, dark feminine energy versus like this energy, this 8 energy, which is all about like the sun shining, touching everybody, being important to everybody, needing that validation from others. It's externalized. Masculine energy is quite like the number 8. I cannot say all masculine energy is, but when we're talking about masculine energy in regard to this specifically, because masculine energy is the number 1, we know divine feminine energy is the number 2. But when we're talking about that, this 7 and this 8 being here, this 7 is where you need to be, and this 8 is where your partner is. This is where the father of your child is. It's in that 8 energy where it's kind of like, it's all about me. It's all about me gaining that fame. It's all about me gaining that recognition. It's all about my money. Like, honestly, the father of your child most likely, like, cannot bear to talk about money, especially if there's someone who's not technically providing for their children. Like, it's all about like, I need this for me to fulfill my dreams or my goals in life, and you're over there with the kids and I got to do this for me, I got to think about me, which is why you may perceive them as a narcissist, is because it's all me, 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 me. But really that boils down to the number 8 energy, where they feel completely unstable in their own finances, so they work quadruple as hard in order to stabilize their finances. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 energy is stability. It's emperor energy. It's all about trust and consistency. When we're talking about the 8 energy usually lacks 4 energy if it's 8 energy on the negative side. 2 4s equaling 8. It should be like these like the foundation of 8 energy for 8 energy to excel. But when you lack the foundation, when you lack that 4 energy, when you lack the consistency, when you lack hard work, you can't stabilize your finances. So it's coming off very strong that the father of your child is constantly always running for a check. Even if this is someone who has money, they could be someone who has a lacking mentality when it comes to money. So they always feel like they need more. Even if they're rich, like even if they have a bunch of money, like they're always working for more. They always need more because they don't feel secure enough. Now that also comes from childhood trauma. They could be someone who was raised poor and they never want to go back to being poor. So they're always they always need money to feel secure. And no matter how much money they get, they don't feel secure. And that's because they're not addressing their deeper issues. I could dig deeper into that, but I really don't want to. I don't, because I feel like that's going into a storyline, but I feel like that was really relevant. And I feel like that was really relevant for some. Let's start digging deep into these tarot cards. Oh, guys. That's crazy. Because the 9 of Cups and the 10 of Swords came out, which is exactly what I just said. 9 of Cups is someone who feels smug. They feel content, like in their money situation or whatever. But then 10 of Swords is something being destroyed. It's a relationship being destroyed. We have the Page of Cups. We have the 7 of Swords. Something being stolen from them, feeling like something's being stolen from them. I feel like this is the father of your child's energy. The Lovers reversed. This is a karmic situation. This is not... There's no temperance. There's no respect. It seems like the father of your child could have a lot of broken relationships. There's someone who has a lot of people around them, but the people around them, like, they have very superficial relationships. They always are talking about getting money or having money, but with this Page of Cups here, it seems as if like their cup is actually much more empty than people realize it is. I sense that this person uses money to show off to people. Like, so people think they have money. People really believe that they have money. And they might have money, because with the 9 of Cups here, they do have something, but it's not secure. It's not stable. With this Lovers in reverse here, it shows that this is a karmic relationship. I think that what I'm going to do is with this last statement, because I did say this was going to be about 20 to 30 minutes and we're inching on 40. I just want to say that before we move into the medication cards, what I'm pulling from the tarot and what it's reminding me to discuss here is that karmic relationships are soulmate relationships. Your soulmates could be karmic, which means that you knew them in a past life and their souls travel with you to new lives. And until you learn the lessons from that person, they'll continue to appear in your future lives as well. Now, with karmic relationships, there is a theory that there's a soul contract to, like I said, learn this quote unquote lesson. I've recently come to discover and believe that that's almost a sense of victim blaming. I don't think that we create these contracts and we call in these people who hurt us But I do think it comes back to the beginning of what I said, that these people mirror pieces inside of each other, inside of us, and we are drawn to them to help heal our inner demons, our wounds, our whatever. I say that to say that a karmic lover, essentially though, especially one who has been abusive verbally, physically, or emotionally, is not your forever person. And it's very important. I'm going to hold up the lovers as I'm saying this, because this card represents twin flame energy. This card represents, in the positive aspect, it represents two people who are meant to be with each other, and going to be with each other and help each other heal their inner wounds, their childhood or past life wounds. When it's in the reverse like this, I tend to read it as a karmic lover, and I tend to read it as someone who is here to shine on your wounds, but not necessarily there to help them put a hand in helping you to heal those wounds. So with that being said, it feels like this is a karmic relationship. This person is not your twin flame. It is not meant to be. You're not meant to reconcile with this person. I feel like that's necessary. Look, when I said that, and I just tower. This person, you're going to constantly go through tower moments with this person. This person will constantly disappoint you. You will constantly have to restart anew every single time you and this person split ways. Look at this tower card. This is like the actual depiction of the tower card. I love this tarot deck, by the way. But I'm gonna leave the tower energy out as I talk about the meditation cards. So we have gratitude. Take some time today to write down all the things you are happy and thankful for. Put that list in your pocket, and if the day starts to bring you down, pull that list out and read it back to yourself. I love this advice. So gratitude. I think that let me scale back 1 second here and just say that I don't like the gratitude part, because I do believe that when we're manifesting something or when we're talking about healing, there's this misconception that you have to be grateful for everything. Like, I don't think you need to be grateful for everything. I think that in order to let new things come into your life, you have to let things go. So I don't like this idea. This is another buzzword thing that I'm actually going to dig deep on, but later, like in the year. That you don't need to be grateful for things to manifest. You don't need to be grateful for things. Like, you don't need to be grateful for pain. Like, I don't mean to be blunt. You can come to a profound place later in life to be grateful for the things that have happened to you, because they lead you into this beautiful place in your life. That's wonderful and that's amazing. But in the moment, do not force yourself to be grateful for things, because when you force yourself to be grateful for things, you ignore the pain, you ignore the hurt, you ignore the feelings. And we've already talked about it. You have to go through those feelings. You cannot go above them or over them, or under them. Under them is suppressing them. Over them is intellectualizing your feelings and saying like, oh, well, this is all happening for a reason and da-da-da. No. Like, no. If you want to be angry for a second, be angry for a fucking second. Feel that shit to the fucking max and purge it out. And then after you're done being angry later in life, you can look back and say, I'm so grateful that happened because it helped me address my anger, right? But I do think you need to be grateful for the little things. As mothers, and the point of this whole video is that I'm talking to women with fathers of their children. So you obviously have children. Well, maybe not necessarily. You could have just been pregnant. So I don't want to be. The point is, I want to say, be grateful for what you do have, in the sense that don't be grateful for the pain just yet. I'm just saying that, but like, be present with your children. Like, if you have children with this person, put your children's name on a fucking list and put it in your pocket. But I do think, outside of the gratefulness, I love this advice, because this is something you can do to regulate your nervous system. If you see this mirror back here, and you can actually see my mirror in the reflection of that mirror with the sun, I write affirmations on that mirror. And usually in my best times of life and worst times of life, I'll write affirmations on this mirror. You just use a dry erase marker, because it can erase right off. It doesn't ruin the mirror in any way. But you use affirmations in your mirror, in your physical. And I think it's very important for shadow work, because mirrors, like we said, are mirrors that we're mirroring other people. If you want to stop spiritually, a spiritual way to protect yourself from mirroring the bad qualities of the people in your life, in order for you to let them go and eventually naturally attract people who are more in alignment with what you want to be in this world, the character that you want to exhibit in this world. You want to put affirmations on your mirror. So every time you're looking at yourself, every time you're walking by, especially for me, this is in the doorway. So it's quadruply as strong, just spiritual, witchy information right here, is that with this being in a doorway and a mirror, this is literally a pathway. So that is a spiritual pathway. That is a magical pathway for me to jump timelines. So when I use this mirror and I put affirmations on it and I'm looking at this mirror and I'm walking in and out of this door, every single time I'm jumping into a timeline where that affirmation is true. It's not just, and because affirmations are things we're telling our bodies and we're telling our minds and we're telling our souls and our inner child to believe. As I'm walking through that path, as I'm looking and gazing into that mirror, I'm going down a pathway that is essentially bringing me closer to the version of myself that I believe to be somewhere deep hidden inside me, right? So that's a great thing, whether it's on your mirror, whether you put it in your pocket, but putting affirmations or putting things inside yourself just to remind yourself that you need to regulate your nervous system and to not let people disrupt your nervous system is very important. So next, I will not worry or focus on becoming a better person. Instead, I will focus on being the loving, kind, mindful person that I am. What did I just say? Do not focus on becoming a quote unquote better person. Don't focus on being grateful or happy or optimistic. Focus on just being loving, kind, mindful. Be present with your children. What did I just say? Mindful, being present with your children, loving and kind. Like, jump timelines into a version of yourself that is essentially like lighter, peaceful, happy. Self-love comes down to what I talked about before, which I'm actually glad I talked about it before. But when we talk about self-care, doing a face mask, soaking your feet, doing a facial steam. I don't know why the fuck my nose feels so itchy. I just put like my moisturizer on and I feel like I have a bunch built up right here. It doesn't matter. The point is that, oh, that's funny because I just did like a little facial. Yeah, so focusing on self-care, these things help bring you to a place of calm. A lot of people tell you about self-care and why and do it and blah, 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 but they don't really explain to you why. The point is, it's not just about filling your cup. It's not just about that. It's about literally bringing yourself to a level of peace, a level of relaxation, so that you can feel your feelings without reacting in the external world. All right, so yeah, I'm going to close this off here. Like I said, comment below if you guys want one based on zodiac sign. But yeah, like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.